chat, man. Well, ICE shooting. You know, a lot of people are gonna be looking at it from a lot of different directions. But man, something has to be done, you know, about these situations that's happening. You know, we got to try to clean this up some kind of way, you know, because I mean, I think we must be respect authority, you know, and their job is to go pick up illegal people. And I think that regular citizens, regular people just need to stay out of the way. You know what I'm saying? We cannot be going around bucking the system. If you don't agree with what's going on, it is you put yourself and your family at risk when you actually do, you know, try to block or interfere with ICE or what ICE doing, because ICE, they basically are the police, right? And their job is to go out and basically protect America, meaning they're going out and the people that's not supposed to be here, people that's here illegally, their job is to detain them and lock them up. And if you agree with it or not, or if it's your friend or whatever the case may be, or your spouse, I mean, you just got to get out of the way. Otherwise, you put your life in jeopardy, like what happened with the lady. Now, I seen the video, and I think they're going to show the video again. And she just shouldn't have been there, bro. She shouldn't have been right there doing what she was doing. She should not have put the car in reverse and then put it in drive and hit the gas. She shouldn't have did that. Now, if she was scared or nervous or whatever the case may be, as we already know, that agent that was involved, he already went through an incident, you know, with illegals. You know, he already went through an incident where he got drugged by a protester. You know, so I don't know if y'all remember that, but that's the same guy who got drugged by a protester. So he's on edge. She's on edge. So as a U.S. citizen, our job is to just let these people do their job. Let them do what they do. In other words, it's not your business. Stay in your own lane and mind your own business. That's what we got to start doing, right? You know, and the lady should not have been there, man. She should not have been right there blocking, you know, because they got a job they got to do. No matter how we want to look at the situation, those agents has a job. And as a citizen, you got to get out of the way. You know what I'm saying? Or you put yourself at risk of, you know, what happened to that lady. You put that at risk of happening to you. Unless, you know, you about that life. You know what I'm saying? Unless you're about that life, you rather, you know, put your life on the line for the cause. But in this situation, in my opinion, I think they both was, you know, kind of shaken up. You know what I'm saying? And that the agent, the cop, he wasn't finna go out like he did last time. You know what I'm saying? And I think the lady was just, most of these protesters that are protesting, they actually don't really know what they really, they don't think about what they really comes with protesting. When you are protesting and you're bucking the system, you know, not a peaceful protest, especially when you're using a vehicle. You know what I'm saying? I mean, if you protesting, yo, no justice, no peace, no racist, yeah, that's cool. But when you are using a vehicle, right? We got to think about this. When you are using a vehicle to interfere with police, because don't get it twisted, ICE are federal agents. They're the police. And when they tell you stop, don't do this, don't do that, you're supposed to listen. You're supposed to listen, or bad things can come out of it. Because if you don't obey the authority, now they don't know what your agenda is. You know what I'm saying? It's like a rebellious kid or a rebellious guy or a rebellious female. You just don't know what you're going to do once you don't want to listen to authority. So then they got to go in protection mode, protect and serve, and protect their life. I mean, this is a crazy situation, man. So we're gonna watch, you know, and check this out a little bit more and see what Secretary Noem has to say at this press conference. Appreciate y'all for joining me. I am your host, the one on the Stock Sniper. Do me a favor, hit the like button. Hit the like button and drop a comment and let me know what you think about this. I should have went live from my phone. That way I could put up a poll. You know what I'm saying? To see what y'all really think. But let me know in the comment section. What do you think about the incident with the ICE agent shooting in Minneapolis? That's the same place, Minnesota. That's the same place where, you know, what happened to George Floyd. So everybody's protesting. So sit back and relax. This is going to be a long reaction. We're going to go to different places, different, you know, and watch different things and get a clear understanding of what's really going on. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. Y'all just kick back, relax, and let's go.
You know, it's 8:30 in the nation's capital. Let's take a commercial break. Our coverage continuing in a moment.
You have people running a daycare with the quality Leering Center. If you're running a daycare and
well, they got the commercial break going on right now, so you know, let me know, chat, what y'all think. Let me pull up the chat box so I can interact with some people. Nobody's commenting right now. Okay, that's cool. Okay, let me see. I'm gonna get over here, chat. Hope y'all having a great night, chat. Hope everything is good. What's up, the Don? It's always good to see the Don in the building. Appreciate you, the Don, everything you do for the channel. You know, as we come up on 10,000 subs, you know, hopefully we can get to 10,000 by February. That's the goal. By February, by 30 days, by February 14th, hopefully we will be at 10K subs. That will be the beginning of the third year of the channel. Since I really started, since I switched over from being a consumer of content to a content creator. So, you know, if you go back and look at the history of the channel, this channel been active for about close to 15 years, I think. But majority of the time, I was a consumer of content, meaning I was watching a lot of YouTube. But 3 years ago, I really made the turn to not only be a consumer of the content, but also be a content creator. And that was 3 years ago in February. So the goal is to hit the 10K subs by February 14th. That will also be the 3-year anniversary since I started creating content. So hopefully we'll be able to get to 10K subs. I think we got about 1,300 to go. So with that being said,
President Trump's reaction to
the
shooting of a woman by an ICE agent in Minneapolis.
Margie,
we're going to go through some more reactions
just
from
tuned in.
leaders,
Thank you for
including
tuning
those
in.
on the Democrat side and
thank you for tuning in.
members
Hope
of
you're having a
Trump's
great night.
administration. Let's start off with Alexandria
Margie
Ocasio-Cortez. As you may be aware,
I've seen
many lawmakers have been on their
from Chicago.
holiday
Hey, what's up,
recess
Chicago?
for some weeks now.
Chicago, what's going on?
Back to
Robert
Capitol
Hope,
Hill.
thank you
We're
for
starting to
joining.
see more and more of these interviews
Thank
on
you
the
for
steps
joining.
outside the Capitol.
So let me
That's
see
where they
over
caught
here
up with AOC earlier today.
So here we go, guys.
Horrific act of violence, and you know, my heart goes out to the victim's family of this. You know, I think what we have now seen and what we are seeing is that ICE is not just becoming an anti-immigrant force in this country, it is becoming an anti-civilian paramilitary organization. People are getting taken off of the streets for exercising their free speech rights. The president himself has asserted that, in fact, one of the reasons that this murder may have been...
Shout out to Kansas. Hey, Kansas, how you doing?
Free speech grounds. So this
Shout out to Kansas.
now turned into what our greatest fear is. and has been for a long time around ICE, that this will be used as an anti-civilian force, that it has no accountability. At the end of the day, what we saw today is a murder.
Man.
And murders in cold blood need to be prosecuted. And we've seen what happened to this woman.
Forgot again. I'm ready to rock and roll now.
Blocks away from where George Floyd was murdered.
Yeah.
And what we need to see
ready to rock and roll now.
Is this incident prosecuted. What we saw today was a criminal.
Get over here.
A criminal murder a woman and shoot her in the head while she was trying to escape and flee for her life. And I think what we saw today was a manifestation of every American's worst nightmare, which is their government turning into a tyranny.
Do you believe he should be arrested, the officer involved?
I think what we saw was a murder today, and I think that we need, of course.
You said that she was fleeing for her life. Do you know that she was fleeing?
I think we saw this vehicle, and listen, part of a due process is to allow an investigation of what transpired and what occurred. I think what we saw was a woman trying to reverse her vehicle and leave a scene. Thank you.
And the speaker and some others have said that this driver was weaponizing her vehicle. What do you say to that?
I think that their editorializing of this event to justify a public murder is disgusting. It is horrifying. And watch it for yourself. Watch it for yourself. And make that assessment to yourself and which of these leaders are lying to you with their statements.
Some of your Senate Democratic colleagues have suggested using appropriations.
Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez speaking on the steps of the Capitol earlier tonight. We also heard from Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. He posted this on social media moments ago. He's a Democrat.
Good evening, Chicago. I would like to take a moment to address the tragic loss of life today in Minneapolis. The video that many of us have seen of ICE officers fatally shooting a woman at point-blank range is deeply disturbing and, unfortunately, all too similar to incidents that have transpired here in Chicago. No community deserves to be subjected to the terror that's stemming from this president's use of ICE as his personal militarized force. At the start of their operation in Chicago, an ICE agent killed a father, Saverio Villegas Gonzalez, under very similar conditions, in his car right after dropping his children off at school. And just as they tried to do today in Minnesota, the Trump administration lied about what happened and spewed misinformation in an attempt to distort the public's understanding. There was no accountability for that killing, nor was there any accountability when another legal observer in Chicago was shot 5 times. It is incidents like these that demonstrate why we have pushed back against reckless and racist militarized immigration enforcement in Chicago. When we have rogue, masked federal agents killing people on our streets, we are all less safe. In Chicago, we saw these same agents indiscriminately raid apartment buildings, tear gas school children, and violate the fundamental rights of countless Chicagoans. Chicago stands in solidarity with Minneapolis. I am praying for the family of the victim, for Mayor Frey, and for the people of your city. I implore you to come together in this moment. The point of this operation of ICE raids and of this president's rhetoric is to divide us and to dehumanize our neighbors. Do not let them change the part of your soul that sees a fellow human being when you look at your neighbor. We will get through this. And to my fellow Chicagoans, we will continue to stand together and hold the Trump administration accountable and to protect our communities from the abuses of the Trump administration. Thank you.
Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson speaking on what we've been tracking for the majority of the day. A live look at Minneapolis, the Twin Cities area on this Wednesday night. It's 7:40 Central Time. Wanted to play out, really read out Tom Homan. He's the border czar under the Trump administration. He says the incident in
hold that ICE officer on trial and put him in fucking jail. So it's my honor to welcome Loretta and Noah with the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice. Their struggle is our struggle. Ready? Come on, come on. Don't be shy. Let's get it up!
Good evening, my name is Noah. I'm an organizer with the Freedom Road Socialist Organization and the Twin Cities Coalition for Justice. And I'm also angry. I'm sad, but I'm mostly furious. Renee Good did not deserve to get killed today in cold blood. I want to extend my deepest condolences and my heart to the family of Renee Good. They lost someone who truly cared and somebody who deserved to live a long and full life, and ICE took that today. Shame. And now we're seeing lies from the federal administration calling her a domestic terrorist. That's a lie. She showed up to watch the terrorists. She showed up to observe the terrorists. We are seeing ICE terrorists all throughout our city, deporting our immigrant neighbors, deporting community members, tearing families apart, and we will not stand for that. Renee did not set out to commit terrorism. This morning she set out to observe a raid because she cares, because she cared for her neighbors, because she cared for the people in this city, and that is more than any ICE agent or any police officer could say. And I'm tired of seeing police collaborate with ICE. I'm tired of seeing the Minneapolis Police Department with their backs to the ICE agents and with their guns and their batons facing the people. They need to respect the separation ordinance. They need to stop violating the separation ordinance. And ICE needs to get out of our city. The Twin Cities Coalition for Justice, we are organizing for political power. We understand that the police cannot be reformed. We understand that ICE cannot be reformed. And we understand that we need democratic control over the Minneapolis police. We also demand that ICE agents leave our cities. We also demand the end to mass deportations. And we demand that the ICE agent who killed Renee Good today be prosecuted to the fullest extent. We demand full accountability and justice for Renee. Don't believe the lies. She was murdered in cold blood today. Don't be confused by this administration. Don't be confused by the lies. We have to see clearly, straight through those lies. And we have to keep on showing up in these streets. We have to keep on standing together. We are the only ones who keep us safe. So keep showing up. And don't just show up. Get organized. Join an organization. If you're not in an organization, join one. Because we need you in this fight. Thank you.
Hey, my name is Loretta Van Pelt. I'm also a member of Freedom Road Socialist Organization and a member of Twin Cities Coalition for Justice. My comrade said it best. I don't know what more to say other than all I know is I've been very emotional today about what happened. I've been a little emotional about what's been happening today. I live in South Minneapolis. I'm from South Minneapolis, so this hurts deep. Again, and it's not far from where George Floyd was killed. And again, another cop, whatever you want to call it, killed someone on these streets, and that's not right.
That's not right. That's not right.
That's not right. I'm sick of hearing about. I'm an educator. I'm sick of hearing that children don't want to come to school. Their families don't want to send them to school because they're afraid ICE will take them away, or their kids will come home and there's nobody there because ICE took their parents away. I'm sick of hearing the stories. I'm sick of hearing
All right, what's up, chat? I appreciate y'all for joining. At this time, what I'm gonna do, so I'm gonna show the video chat on what happened, so we can get a clear understanding for the people who haven't seen it. I'm going to show the actual video on what really happened. So can we please get the likes up? We got 100 people in the building. I'm finna show the video right now. So if y'all haven't seen it, I'm finna show it right now, so you can get a clear understanding, and you could have voice your opinion after we see this. So let's go, chat. Let me see how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do it just like this, chat, so we can see how it played out.
See the vehicle there. That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here. It's about a purplish, reddish color here. So let's take a look.
Agent walking up. And then there's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Three agents involved. One was kind of closer to the front of the vehicle. The other kind of pulled on that driver's side door handle there.
So again, there's no audio here.
One was kind of close.
And then there's another
here. So let's take a look. The Pilot that we should be.
That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
Okay, as you can see right there, she's blocking them. She's blocking them for where they're trying to get to. They're trying to do a raid, right? She's blocking the street, so they can't pass through. So that's my observation of it. She's blocking them from doing their job, which is to go and arrest the illegals. That's what's happening, so we get a clear understanding on what's going on. All right, here we go. Now they're getting out of the car, and they telling her to move. Okay, here we go, chat.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here. It's about a purplish, reddish color here.
Okay, he's at the car. She's not wanting to move. Let's see what happened. But what we can't see is the cop that actually shot her. He's in the front of the vehicle. Okay, let's go.
So let's take a look.
She backs up. He's trying to open up a door.
Agent walking
and
up.
There go the other cop. Y'all see? The other cop is right there. I don't think she sees him. My opinion.
Up.
I don't think, he could have got out of the way, guys. Y'all see, chat? This is my opinion. He could have got out of the way. I don't think she's seen him. I think she was paying attention to the one that's at the driver's seat. Right, she had it in reverse. But I'm thinking she didn't see the other cop. She shouldn't have been there in the first place, though, bro. Chad, she shouldn't have been there in the first place. Like, let's go back.
Pulling up in the pickup.
And it is the Honda.
She shouldn't have been there. She shouldn't have been right there, Chad. She's blocking them from doing their job. She shouldn't have been there. That was dumb.
That we should be focused on.
And he's telling her, move, get out the way, stay in your own lane, mind your own business. This is not none of your business. Get out of the way.
On here, it's about a purple. Bluish reddish.
Okay, that vehicle that's behind her, the white SUV, is blocking it too. It's blocking them from going up the street and doing their job. Now, she doesn't see that it's another ICE agent, like right on the other side, on the passenger side of the front of her vehicle. I don't think she knows he's there.
Color here.
He's trying to open up her car. She says she ain't having that.
So let's
backs up.
Look, agent walking up.
And then you see the agent in the back. He walks up and put himself right in front of her vehicle. Crazy work. As soon as she put it in drive, chat, he already has his gun out. She had a gun in her vehicle. But at this point, chat, man, that's a bad situation to be in, bro. And that right there, at this point, the cop already got his gun out. I don't think she knows he's there. I don't think she's paying attention that he's even there.
And then there's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Yeah, three agents involved. One was kind of closer to the front.
I'm gonna play it one more time, chat, and then I gotta get off of this. I don't want to see too much of this, chat. But we gotta look at it to give an idea on what's going on. We gotta get a good idea of what happened.
You can see the
Clearly
vehicle
blocked them.
there. That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here. It's about a purplish reddish color here. So let's take a look.
Agent walking up. And then there's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Yeah, three agents.
Yeah, guys. That's why it's not good to get involved in police business. It's not. It's not good to get in police business, chat. It's called staying in your own lane, minding your own business.
So, like
and you know, if definition of FAFO, yeah, that's Greeny. That's the definition of it. I love the Constitution at work. At BLS, at Greeny, cops have to make split-second decisions all the time and are trained to draw on a dime. Constitution is toilet paper. Yeah, that's crazy, guys. That's why you're supposed to stay in your own lane and mind your own business.
I echo the sentiments of Noah that we need to come together, we need to organize, and we need to get ICE out of our city. That's all I gotta say. Thank you very much.
Say her name, Renee Good! Say her name! 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 Say her name!
I'm just getting myself.
I'll do a call.
McCarthy moment. Do you have no decency? Do you have no decency? We have someone dead. in their car for no reason whatsoever. And I don't want to be right about this, but I said if they do this, they're going to create a chaotic situation where someone innocent's going to get killed. And they did it. And now we hear more political rhetoric. Enough. Enough is enough. And so to Minnesotans, don't take the bait. Do not take the bait. Do not allow them to deploy federal troops into here. Do not allow them to invoke the Insurrection Act. Do not allow them to declare martial law. Do not allow them to lie about the security and the decency of this state. And let's let this investigation play itself out. Let's make sure we protect our neighbors. I encourage you to use your First Amendment rights and all of your constitutional rights, but do so in a peaceful manner. We'll gather back with you as soon as we gather more information that needs to be put out. But again, stay safe, Minnesotans, and we'll be back with you.
All right, that's Governor Walz from earlier today in his extended remarks along with the Department of Public Safety and the Minnesota National Guard there this afternoon along with the State Patrol. Our streaming coverage allows tonight. We're going to continue our coverage of today's events in Minneapolis in just a few moments. Don't go anywhere. We're going to come.
Nos debemos de unirnos hoy más que nunca. We should be united now more than ever. It don't matter what race you are. Let's get together and fight for this. Eso es todo lo que yo les puedo decir, amigos, que podamos votar, que podamos apoyar. Tenemos un grupo de patrulleros de Mayra Guevara y estamos apoyando a la comunidad. Hay que estar unidos todos. Hoy necesitamos más que nunca unirnos, no importa la raza. Gracias.
My name is David Lee, and I'm thankful to be here, and I'm glad that we're all here. It doesn't matter if you're black, white, purple, green. We are here for Mrs. Good, and there will be no more injustice. So I want everybody to put their hands together. If you have a lighter, put it up, and let's have a moment of silence for Miss Renee Good. Let's go. She died innocently. And there will be no more innocent people dying. Not on my watch, not on your watch. I thank God. I thank everybody here. We are Renee. We are Mrs. Good. And we will not have it no more. Let's give a round of applause for Renee for standing up for justice.
This is what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Show me what community looks like. This is what community looks like. Rise up, take a stand. Rise up, take a stand. No one is illegal on stolen land. No one is illegal on stolen land. Rise up, take a stand. Rise up, take a stand.
Nobody's illegal on stolen land.
No one is illegal on stolen land. Rise up, take a stand. Rise up, take a stand. No one is illegal on stolen land. No one is illegal on stolen land.
Thank you so much, everybody. Next up, we're actually going to have Joe Vitale from the Indigenous Protectors Movement. Please give him a warm welcome.
Thank you so much. You know, I'm here, you know, with my pipe here and delivering the prayers and thinking about kind of what I want to say, what I want to put out there. And really, this day is not only just for Renee, but it's for the rest of us. A tragedy happened today. Someone died. It was the inevitable. As soon as the ice raids began, we all knew what was going to happen eventually. This was a rogue faction of the government that was created just to brutalize black and brown bodies. And it is no surprise that in the same city that George Floyd was killed, that another death took place at the hands of a militarized rogue system. We heard our brother talk about accountability with the police system. Unfortunately, there is no accountability. No amount of transparency can change the fact that these systems are just inherently racist and meant to brutalize black and brown bodies and to control the poor. It is domestic terrorism. But, and I want to say but, we outside.
Agents are trying to create and that the federal government, to be clear, wants. They want us to respond in a way that creates a military occupation in our city. They want an excuse to come in and show the kind of force that will create more chaos and more despair. Let's not let them.
Yeah, that's all she had to do.
Occasion.
Groner.
Let's
all
show
she had to do was stop
something
and get out.
far more beautiful than the kind of division that they're
That's
trying
all she had
to
to
stoke.
do.
Let's show them unity of purpose, of love, and the courage of our conviction. Our conviction, to be clear, is rock solid, and it is for our neighbors, all of our neighbors. It's for people who have lived here for 80 years. It is for new immigrants who have made this city a better place. That's the kind of love that we're going to show up with right now. If you're angry, I get it. I am too. If you're feeling that kind of despair, it's understandable. Let's show them who we can be. Let's show up with peace. To march, to protest, to hug one another, to love all the way with peace. Do not give them what they want. Finally, you know, we've got a lot of work that needs to happen right now to make sure that, first, of course, the scene was secured as much as possible, that we were able to get the victim, now deceased, to the hospital. We've got a lot of work to do in the coming days. I want to thank our city enterprise for the work that they have done, but more importantly, what they're about to do, because this is going to be heavy and our city has been through a lot. We also know that we're prepared to do right for people. Among them is our chief of police. I'll invite him up.
My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N-O''Hara. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. This morning, Minneapolis police officers received a report of federal law enforcement being involved in a deadly force incident, meaning shots had been fired. Minneapolis police officers responded to the scene. We arrived and found a woman with a gunshot wound to the head. Life-saving measures were performed at the scene, including CPR. The woman was transported to Hennepin County Medical Center, where she has since been pronounced deceased. The preliminary information that we have indicates that this woman was in her vehicle and was blocking the roadway on Portland Avenue, midway between 33rd Street and 34th Street in the city. At some point, a federal law enforcement officer approached her on foot, and the vehicle began to drive off. At least 2 shots were fired. The vehicle then crashed on the side of the roadway. Minneapolis police officers secured the crime scene and assisted in trying to preserve the evidence that is there. We have since turned over the scene both to the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, which will be conducting an investigation into this use of deadly force. I want to thank the mayor, city council president, other members of the city council, state legislators that were on the scene. This has been a very difficult time for everyone in the city. And this is obviously a very, very tragic situation where a woman has lost her life. That being said, in addition to this tragedy, which unfortunately we did predict, we were seriously concerned about further escalation from the scene. I want to thank the elected officials that came themselves to help us prevent that from happening, as well as the individuals on that scene that remained peaceful and that abided by law enforcement instructions so that we could preserve that scene and ensure that a full and transparent investigation can take place. That being said, I just echo the mayor's comments that we ask that the community continue to call for peace. We understand people are going to be upset about what happened, and people are going to.
You're absolutely right, Crypto Laws.
Rights. But please do
I agree
so
with you.
Safely and lawfully.
I agree with that, Crypto Laws.
Any further tragedy in this city or destruction.
That's a fact.
Chief, Sheriff.
100 problems will keep you confused from the task at hand.
Any idea
2030 to have a complete divide of the rich and the poor.
I don't have that information. No. The question was, is there an identity of the ICE officer that fired?
Fact.
I do not have that.
Mayor Frye, we're hearing the ICE officer stopped a position from helping the lady who was shot. Is that true? We've seen video, it's all over social media, that someone tried to help this lady and they were pointed guns at and told to get away. Do you know about that at all?
So the question was, there's information out there that people tried to help the woman that was shot and ICE officers that pointed guns at them and told them to leave. I do not have that information. I myself saw a video of the shots being fired as the car was driving away. What I can tell you is the narrative that this was just done in self-defense is a garbage narrative. That is not true. It has no truth. And it needs to be stated very clearly since we have already seen a video of it. I do not know as to what you're talking
so,
about.
Mayor, she wasn't driving she wasn't driving the car toward him using her vehicle as a weapon?
That does not appear to be the case at all.
What's the city's protocol when an observer or an activist calls 911? They say an agent's following them or an agent's pointing a gun at them. How does the city of Minneapolis handle that situation going forward, considering what just happened today?
Repeat it one more time. I missed the first part of what you said. I'll turn it over to the chief.
What does the city do when someone calls 911 and a federal agent's pointing a gun at them, that sort of thing?
I'll turn it over to the chief. The question is, what does someone do when a federal agent is pointing a gun at them? Chief.
So, if I heard you correctly, the question is about when people call 911,
yes.
What is the city's protocol in these situations? We've had a very dramatic increase in 911 calls related to this activity. We have a protocol in place that has been evolving as the situation has been changing. And at this time, there is a designated supervisor that is on duty 24/7 that fields those calls. And we do everything that we can to ensure that they are appropriately prioritized, with the priority being placed upon the protection of life and safety of everyone in the community.
Can you tell us any more about the woman who was fatally shot? Was she there as
we got 5 cities on this screen of everybody protesting.
What do you know that you can share?
So the question was, what can I share about the deceased? There is nothing to indicate that this woman was the target of any law enforcement investigation or activity. This woman was in her car, and it appears then blocking the street because of the presence of federal law enforcement, which is obviously something that has been happening not just in Minneapolis, but around the country. She appears to be a middle-aged white woman.
Chief, just about a month ago, you said these unplanned and questionable tactics by federal agents would result in someone being killed at a press conference right here. Do you consider today's tactics in line with that, or do you just have a generic response to the fact that somebody is now dead?
The question is that I had previously made several statements about being concerned about the tactics being employed. I am obviously very concerned that I have been told that a woman who was sitting in her car blocking the street and not the target of any enforcement activity is now deceased. However, I do not know, to be clear, I do not know the exact circumstances of the shooting, but I would tell you, in any professional law enforcement agency in the country, I think they would tell you it's obviously very concerning whenever there's a shooting into a vehicle of someone who's not armed, but it also is something that is possible. At times it is justified, but it is very concerning, and it's something that most law enforcement agencies in the country train very intensely to try and minimize the risk that law enforcement officers get placed into a situation that the need for deadly force would be necessary.
Has there been any indication of that need in this case?
I didn't hear the question.
Has there been any indication of the need to shoot into the vehicle?
The question was any indication about the need. I guess getting back to the justification of this, I have not seen any information other than what I have.
Chief, was she alone in the car? Were there children in the car with her?
The question was if she was alone in the car. I know that I got there shortly after this call came in. I did not see anyone else with her while I was on the scene. However, I've since been told by our officers that have been with her the entire time that a spouse has arrived at the hospital.
Mayor, just curious if you're thinking about contacting federal authorities to register your concerns about this, personally making phone calls, et cetera.
Yes, we've been on the phone all morning. As soon as we learned about this, again, there were a series of priorities that we needed to go through. The first, of course, is to keep people safe and to help the victim in any way that we could. The second was to get ICE off of the scene. There was the notion that ICE agents would be necessary to create a perimeter around the scene itself. They themselves were creating the kind of dysfunction and chaos that they claimed to be trying to help with. And so the message that we delivered very clearly was to make them leave. Now, beyond leaving the scene, they should also leave our city and our state. You know, we do work, our chief does work, our sheriff does work every single day to keep people safe in our city and in our state. And crime is dramatically down. Crime is down. It continues to trend down. They are doing the hard work of investigating, of arresting perpetrators of violent crime. What this federal administration is doing right now is not about creating safety. Do not let them tell you that what they are doing is about creating safety. It is not. It is having the opposite impact. We need to be clear-eyed about the work that is moving forward, and they need to leave Minneapolis.
We have time for one or two more questions.
Mayor, you may know this with your legal background. If this shooting is found to not be justified, does the city have any legal, or the state rather, have any legal recourse to bring charges against this ICE agent, given that this person is a federal agent, if the feds don't?
So, obviously, and I have to always lead with this caveat because it is true, an investigation still does need to be conducted. I had my perception of what took place based on the vehicle and the vehicle's positioning. It does not appear that the individual is trying to ram anyone. Now, the question was, if it is in fact found to be an unjustified shooting, who issues the charge? Who prosecutes? How does justice take place? I don't know the answer in full to that. This is obviously information that we're still working out. Chief, do you have any additional information, Commissioner?
The only thing I would add to the mayor's statement is that The crime scene was held by the Minneapolis Police Department, and the investigation is now being led jointly by the Federal Bureau of Investigation as well as the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension. And the purpose of their involvement would be to investigate whether any state laws within the state of Minnesota have been violated.
One more
Can I
question.
just add something to that too? What's very important is that for our communities that we do have some kind of part in this investigation. It needs to be done on a local level. With all due respect to the federal level, we do need to make sure that our local agencies are involved. Most certainly the BCA is very well capable of working with our federal partners in doing so. That is something that is needed for our communities, and so that's something that I can tell you that there's already been conversations from the U.S. Attorney's Office to the BCA that have already taken place today. How that's going to roll out, we don't know yet, but we are making sure that there is some kind of local entity, namely the BCA, that has a part in this investigation for the purposes of transparency and expedient transparency as to what happened today.
One more. If that's it. Thank you, everybody.
Again, thank you everybody for coming. Thank you to the media for being here and disseminating this very important information around this tragic incident. To reiterate a final message to our community members, I understand the anger.
Hey, what's up, chat? We got 169 people in the building. And what we must realize, chat, as we watch this and use it as a case study, what that lady did, chat, you don't want to do that. Because for one, you're disobeying the officers. Number two, your vehicle is being used as a weapon, right? And number three, you already in the wrong. She's in the wrong because she's interrupting with police business, with ICE business. She should have been standing in her own lane and minding her own business. She should have been standing out and protesting. She should have been no justice, no peace, no racist police. That's what she should have been doing. And guys, what we got to understand, you got to, in order to beat this, if you think it's wrong, you got to vote. You cannot act out of emotion, out of anger, and try to push back and fight the police. You know, you can't do that. You will put yourself in a loser situation every single time, especially if you're using your vehicle, like what she did. Like, we already know that terrorists use vehicles to run in the crowds, use vehicles to run over people. And, you know, you already know, she should have already known that that's a sensitive thing. You know, you got to stay in your own lane and you got to mind your own business. And breaking the law because you don't agree with what's going on, you're going to lose every single time, chat. This is a case study. So we got to use this to share with people around the world on what not to do. We already showed the video. I'm not going to show it again, guys. So I appreciate y'all for joining me. Let's continue.
In the action that is needed to protect people from ICE. They have left us to our own devices. When I saw Renee Brown shot dead, cold-blooded in the street today, I thought about my comrades. I thought about my comrades that do need for watch every single day. I thought about my comrades that marched to the ICE building and be arrested, brutalized by ICE, thrown to the ground, and dragged across the pavement. I thought about the
That's right, Chad. If you listen to the cops, you won't get shot. Like, that was not a smart decision. May God bless her soul. But that was not a smart decision that she made. That wasn't smart at all. Like, you in a no-win situation. You're in a no-win situation against law enforcement. You know, you're in a no-win situation, especially when you're using your vehicle to block them from doing their job, right? She's blocking the street so they can't go. She's basically protesting with a vehicle. Like, that wasn't smart to try to block them from going to do their job. If you don't agree with what the cops are doing, you got to go to the polls. But that's the thing. Donald Trump and his administration told everybody in the world what the agenda was. He told everybody that he was going to do this, right? So with that being said, Chad, Donald Trump told everybody that he was going to do these ICE raids. He was going to go door to door. He was going to sniff them out and send them back home. But what we got to understand, mostly everybody voted for this. So in other words, you got to respect the vote. More people than not wanted this. More people than not wanted these ICE raids, guys. Why, Stock Sniper? Because he told us this is what he was going to do. Donald Trump told us step 1, step 2, step 3. He ran his administration on securing the border and sniping out the illegals and getting them up out of here. That's what he told us he was going to do. And guess what? He won the popular vote and he won the electoral vote by record numbers. So we as citizens, we as Americans, supposed to respect that. If I voted for Kamala Harris and my candidate, the person that I voted for didn't win, I gotta respect democracy, right? I gotta respect the votes. So by her doing that, she's not, see, they talk about democracy and it ain't no democracy. That was she pulled, whether you like it or not, whether you like Donald Trump or not, whether you voted for Donald Trump, whether you voted for Kamala Harris or you didn't vote at all. The American people spoke by the masses, guys. So that's what democracy is about. So she violated the U.S. Constitution by what she did, guys. Think about it. She violated democracy by doing that, by being upset that ICE is there and trying to stop, ICE from doing their job, which the people voted for. The ICE agents are doing what majority of Americans want them to do. Matter whether if you like it or not. If you voted, if you're a Democrat, or and you voted for Kamala Harris, whether you like it or not, you got to respect the vote. That's why we have voting. We the people as a collective vote. The majority wins. So the ICE agents and that ICE agent and those people are doing what America wants them to do. That's what we have to remember. You got to get out of your feelings. If that lady wasn't in her feelings and she would respected the outcome, she would be alive right here today. She wasn't thinking about her kids. They say she got a 4-year-old daughter, I think. She wasn't even thinking about a kid, man. And they say that the kid dad was already deceased. They say he died in 2023. So as a mom, as a parent, she was wrong all the way around the board. No matter how you look at it, chat, she was wrong all the way around the board. And that's all I got to say about that.
I've got one more request for you all. If you have one of the drones in the sky here, if this is a personal drone, we would love if you would land it. Just because that sort of thing at the moment is not helping our safety senses right now. And who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. 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 And you know who doesn't keep us safe? Is the National Guard.
And yes, for the guy, where you at? You said something about January 6th. Where you at? You say all this, but then last election, Trump scored power, then January. Well, that was wrong too. Guy 55-51, that was wrong as well. But we in 2026, right? We're not in 2020. We are in 2026. That was 5 years ago, 55-51. We're talking about right now. We're about today and the future, not the past. But yes, that was wrong as well. I'm not going to argue about that. That was wrong. Two wrongs don't make a right. Got to understand that. Yes, January 6th, that was wrong. That also was going against democracy. And guess what? People lost their lives on January 6th. And I said it that day. On that day when that happened, January 6th, was a bad day in America. So I'm not one-sided with this. Don't get it twisted, 55-51. God, 55-51. I'm not like one side. I'm we the people. I'm for the people of America. If you're right, you're right. If you're wrong, you're wrong. So, I mean, if you understand where I'm coming from, the side that I pick is the people. That's the side that I pick. I'm not left. I'm not right. I'm for the people. So remember that, guy 55-51. If you've never been on this channel before, you got to understand. We call a spade over here. That's what we do. That's why a lot of people rock with the channel. Appreciate you for joining 55-51. Hope you're having a great night. Let's get back to the content.
I know these words are not enough, and I know thoughts and prayers are not enough, but what I do know is that they feel our solidarity, is that they feel our organizing, is that they feel our collective action. So please, everybody here, please, this is not the time to stick your head in the sand and merely hope things will get better.
Well, we got to understand, 72-59, disagreeing and interfering with police business is two different things. You can disagree, but interfering with police business, like what that lady did, what you expect the outcome to be. You disagree by peacefully protesting or voting. You don't disagree by using your vehicle to try to stop an ICE bus in the middle of the day. You don't use your vehicle to try to block an ICE bus in the middle of the day. The U.S. citizens, no matter how you want to look at it, U.S. citizens voted for what the ICE agents are doing. Majority of the America voted for that. I don't understand how people ain't understanding that. I don't understand that. The American people has spoken. Don't be selfish. And because you disagree, you don't honor the Constitution of America. Democracy, which is voting, right? Most people voted for what happened. So what she was supposed to have did was sit on the sideline, no justice, no peace, no racist police. That's what she was supposed to have did. And say, I don't agree, I don't agree, I don't agree. But you don't use crazy thinking and do crazy things and put your life in jeopardy, especially when you have kids. You already in the wrong. Why is she already in the wrong, Stock Sniper? Because the American people, most of the American people voted for this. It's simple, common sense. But you know, common sense, right? 70-65, common sense ain't common no more. So with that being said, she lost her life. Now her daughter or son don't have a dad or a mom. Because remember, chat, the kid's dad died in 2023. So this lady not only is not respecting democracy and the U.S. Constitution and the voters, she ain't even thinking about her own kid. She ain't even thinking about her own kid. Please, all on this channel, don't cry when the Democrats take back both houses. If they do, they do. That means that the voters and the people of America want it like that. So if the Republicans don't win the midterm, that's because most Americans don't want them there anymore. And guess what? We would have to respect that too. That's the great thing about America. Right? That's the great thing about America. Just like Crypto said earlier, shout out to Crypto, if you're still in the building. They want to keep us divided, guys. If most people vote for Democrat, that's who we got to roll with. That's who we got to support. Because I want Joe Biden. If Kamala Harris would have won, I would support Kamala Harris. The thing is, guys, whoever is voted in, we want them to be successful. Let's get that clear. 138 people in the building. Whoever's elected, we want them to be successful. We don't want them to be unsuccessful. Why, Stock Sniper? Because when the people that are elected are not successful, it hurts us as a whole. We got to understand that. It affects everybody. So guess what? Donald Trump won. I want Donald Trump to be successful. Because if he's successful, we're successful. If Joe Biden would have came back and won, when Joe Biden was president, if Joe Biden is successful, we all are successful. There's no two sides, bro. It's only one America. And we have to understand that. It's we the people. That's what we got to understand, chat. And if you it's your first time on this channel, you're going to understand real quick that we are for the people. And we want whoever's in office, we want them to succeed. That's what we want.
And Customs Enforcement were carrying out lawful operations here in Minneapolis. Because of the adverse weather that Minneapolis has seen in recent snow, one of the vehicles became stuck and ensnared in the snow. Law enforcement were attempting to push out this vehicle, and when a mob of agitators that were harassing them all day began blocking them in, shouting at them, and impeding law enforcement operations. ICE officers and agents approached the vehicle of the individual in question, who was blocking the officers in with her vehicle, and she had been stalking and impeding their work.
Yeah, you're right. 7259, you're right. It is, yeah. It's two sides of America. That's the facts. You're absolutely correct. And I wish I was on my phone. I could pin that comment that you just made. Unfortunately, there is two sides. It's the facts. You're right, man. And it's getting worse. It's getting worse.
Training to save his own life and that of his colleagues. He was treated at a local hospital, has been released, and is now with family. I encourage the American people at this point in time to pray for him, but also to pray for the deceased's family and her loved ones. Today alone in this country, there have been 4 different domestic terrorist attacks on federal officers by the ramming of vehicles. 3 of them happened here in Minneapolis. We've seen over 100 of these vehicle rammings happen in just recent weeks, and this must stop. ICE alone is facing a 1,300% increase in assaults against them and an 8,000% increase in death threats against all of them. In fact, the very same officer who was attacked today had previously been dragged by an anti-ICE rioter who had rammed him with a car and drug him back in June. He sustained injuries at that time as well. And let me remind you why we're all here in this city today and why we've been here. In communities across this country and here in Minneapolis, we're just enforcing the laws that we have in this country. For years under President Biden, tens of millions of dangerous criminal illegal aliens, terrorists, and suspected terrorists were allowed to invade our country over our southern border. They were allowed to steal, to defraud, and to perpetuate violence against American citizens. Regardless of who your mayor or who your governor is, President Trump promised every single American that he would make America safe again. He promised every single American that he would work to protect them from dangerous criminals. Since Governor Walz has been in charge of Minnesota, we have seen homicides go up by over 50%. That's also during Mayor Frye's tenure as well. Since President Trump took office, Governor Walz has released over 470 violent criminals back onto the streets here in Minneapolis. He has another 680 of them still within his jurisdiction that he could give to us today to face the consequences for their crimes. Because Governor Walz and Mayor Frye refused to protect Minnesotans, and instead, that's why we are here. And we didn't just show up yesterday, we've always been here. But we're surging operations because of the dangerous situation we see in this country, and because we're no longer going to allow illegal criminals to damage and harm, to kill, to sexually abuse, to proliferate drugs, and to steal American taxpayers' dollars. This state has faced unprecedented immigration fraud. It's seen unprecedented benefit fraud. Individuals were allowed to come into this country and set up fake companies and fake nonprofits and divert billions of dollars away from American citizens and those vulnerable citizens who truly needed the services from those programs. This city has burned before, and your mayor and your governor let it happen. President Trump is not going to let that happen. He and our federal law enforcement officers are here to bring peace and to bring public safety and to ensure that criminal activity is stopped and that people who perpetuate it will face consequences. Since we have been here in recent weeks, we have arrested over 1,500 criminals off of the streets. Our law enforcement has arrested murderers, known and suspected terrorists, child pedophiles, and other brutal criminals that were protected here in this city. We should all work together to protect our citizens. We should all protect the men and the women and the families who live here in Minneapolis, who live in Minnesota, and live throughout this entire country. I want to thank you for being here, and I want to thank you for focusing on the important work that our federal officers do and make sure that we're focused on the priorities of this country, and that's making sure that we're keeping people safe. With that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Secretary, Mayor Fry called the claims of self-defense BS. How do you respond to that?
I say that he doesn't know what he's talking about. It's very clear that this individual was harassing and impeding law enforcement operations. Our officer followed his training, did exactly what he's been taught to do in that situation, and took actions to defend himself and defend his fellow law enforcement officers.
Secretary, can you expand too on the agent's injuries? The president said that he's lucky to be alive.
The officer was hit by the vehicle. She hit him. He went to the hospital. A doctor did treat him. He has been released, but he's going to spend some time with his family.
Can you clarify whether he was looking for after the fired?
I can't, but the FBI will continue the investigation and release more facts when it's appropriate.
Secretary, has the agent been relieved of his duty, or can you give us any other?
No, we're following the standard protocol procedures we do in situations like this. When there's an officer-involved shooting, we make sure that we get the facts and that we are getting the statements from everybody involved and make sure that investigators are handling the decisions.
Secretary, have ICE operations paused because of what happened today?
No, we're still out on the streets doing our work to get dangerous criminals off of the streets of Minneapolis.
Can you give us any insight into your conversation with the governor?
You know, Tim and I have known each other for years. We served in Congress together. We both ran for governor the same year and have served as governor at the same times. So we were colleagues, and we discussed what happened here today. We have two very different viewpoints of it. I talked specifically about the fact that we have laws. They need to be enforced. He knows that I believe sanctuary policies have protected criminals and placed a priority of them over the citizens that live here. And he knows we'll continue to do our work, and I encouraged him to work with us. We've never had a cooperative arrangement with law enforcement here. Whenever we've done investigations, whenever we've done police work, when we've been doing what we can to bring people to justice for the crimes that they commit, we haven't had the cooperation of the state of Minnesota or the city police here under the mayor's direction. If you talk to any of these federal law enforcement officers, they'll say that when they call for backup in a situation, that it's hit and miss. They were grateful today that the police chief and local law enforcement showed up at the scene and helped secure it to make sure that nobody was harmed and that the FBI could do their work. But I would encourage them to work with us, that we could form a partnership that would make sure that individuals have the opportunity to have a safe Minneapolis.
Secretary,
Over here.
do you stand behind the use of force, and will any of those use of force guidelines be altered or changed in the future?
You know, it's clearly established law that a vehicle driven by a person and used to harm someone is a deadly weapon. Deadly force is perfectly lawful when a threat is faced by a weapon. So I do believe that this officer used his training in this situation, and we'll let the FBI continue the investigation to get it resolved.
So just to be clear, did the shooting happen before or after the vehicle hit the officer?
I know you keep asking that, but that doesn't mean that the FBI is going to give you an answer today. There will be an investigation. We want to make sure that it's factual. What I would ask is that as we go forward from here today, that we all remember that our job is to have peaceful discussions. I'd encourage our local law enforcement and state law enforcement to work with us. We are going to continue to operate here in Minneapolis and in the state of Minnesota to make sure we're going after dangerous criminals. One of the key focuses that we've had here is a focus on individuals who are sexual predators and are involved in child exploitation. When I was just here yesterday, we arrested individuals who were charged with criminal assault and sexual assault and people that exploited children. Why would you want to keep them on your streets? President Trump has promised to go after the worst of the worst, and that's exactly what we're doing in Minneapolis. By not working with us, Governor Walz and Mayor Fry are putting those criminals and prioritizing them over our children and our grandchildren.
Governor Walz said that he has not been given any heads up when there is.
And that's simply not true. He said that to me on the phone too, so I'll get him the documentation that he needs so that he knows that we would love to coordinate with him. He doesn't give us access to any information on criminals, let us know who he's detained, doesn't honor our detainers, and has individuals and criminals in his jurisdiction that he won't turn over us today too. Yes.
Hearing that the officer involved today was once before hit by a vehicle, can you explain the difference between that instance and today? Was a firearm discharged then? If not, what was the difference?
I won't speak to that case right now, but we can get you the details and the information on that. But the facts of the matter is he's an experienced officer. He's been in situations like this before, and he certainly has been out there and followed his training today.
Given the threat of vehicle encounters, are you going to change the way police?
You know, people need to stop using their vehicles as weapons.
Are you going to change the
This domestic act of terrorism to use your vehicle to try to kill law enforcement officers is going to stop. And I'm asking the Department of Justice to prosecute it as domestic terrorism because it's clear that it's being coordinated. People are being trained and told how to use their vehicles to impede law enforcement operations and then to run over anybody who gets in their way while they go out there and try to disrupt peace and public safety. And Americans deserve better.
Secretary, are you considering running the National Guard?
That hasn't been a part of the discussion. I know Governor Walz mentioned some of that earlier in his press conference, but we've got law enforcement officers here that will continue to work, and we're hopeful that the public recognizes that the work that we do every day makes America safe again.
Can you give insight
With that,
into the operation that was happening at 3 Portland?
we had law enforcement officers that were out there doing an enforcement action, and a vehicle got stuck in the snow, and so they had called other people to come and help them get that vehicle out. Those officers were trying to free the vehicle when the harassment started, when the protesters were out there impeding their vehicles and preventing them from leaving the scene.
Was it a particular home or business in that intersection?
I won't speak to that.
Were they on the crime that person may be committed that you were going after? Mentioned sexual threats. Well, body camera footage be released.
I will let the FBI decide.
Were they on target today when they were in that neighborhood?
They were returning back to headquarters, I believe, to start a new operation, had just completed one. Well, thank you. What's that? I was one of the vehicles that ICE officers were using, but remember, when we operate in a task force model. So we have other federal agencies that work with us, and we're very grateful for that. We have CBP officers, the FBI, DEA, ATF, all of those all work with us every day in a task force model, and we appreciate it. We'd love to have the state police, and we'd also love to have the Minneapolis police chief and his team.
I see a lot of people in the chat are talking about what really happened during the video, during the shooting. I already played that video earlier, but what I'm gonna do, chat, I'm gonna play that video again, and I'm gonna break it down like I did earlier, so the new people that have just now starting to join can see what really happened. So I'm finna pull it back up again, chat. Finna pull it up again. Let me find it. Hold on a second, chat. Thank y'all for joining. I gotta find it. I had it loaded up, but I took it off, so I gotta reload it again, chat. Give me a second. Give me a second while I find that video. We're gonna watch the video again, chat. For the people who just now coming in, we're going to play the video again. We're going to play it again. So I see. We're going to play the video again. Here we go, chat. If you just not joining the stream, do me a favor and hit the like button. Hit the like button. We're finna show the actual video of the disturbing shooting, you know, about the ICE agent and that lady. May God bless her soul who lost her life. We're going to play the video right now so we can see, so y'all can see what actually happened. Let me make sure everything's straight. Here we go.
Want to see this.
All right.
You can see the vehicle there.
You see, right there, she's blocking the ICE agents from doing their job. Look, chat, She's blocking them. At this point, she ain't scared. I see people in the chat say she's scared and all this. She knew she was blocking them from doing their job. She's blocking them, and then there's another vehicle that's blocking them. Now let's keep it going. Okay, this her vehicle. That's an ICE agent right here. In my opinion, this ICE agent that's behind her vehicle on the right by the passenger tail light, I think that's the guy who ended up in the front. Let's keep it going. She's violating right now, Chad. She's violating. She's not scared. She's sitting in a car. She obviously knows that she's blocking the ICE agents from doing their job. The American people, majority of the people voted for this, so she is in violation. And she's not scared. Because if you're scared, you're not going to put yourself in the line of fire. So let's keep it going.
You can see the vehicle.
There go the truck. The gray Titan. She's still there. She ain't scared. She's not worried about if they ram into her car. She's in the middle of the road. That's illegal to block the road. Y'all do understand that, right? That's illegal. So she's not scared. She at this moment is breaking the law. That's a law violation. Right there. She's breaking the law.
That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
Boom. They get out the vehicle.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on.
No gun. They're telling her they are the people in authority. They are the authorities. They're trying to tell her, move around, get away. You're blocking us from our job. You're interfering with police duty, which is a charge. Obstruction of justice. That's a charge. I believe that's a felony. And since it's a feds obstruction of justice, this could have been a felony charge. A federal charge, excuse me. Okay, let's keep it going.
Here, it's about a purple.
No gun. No gun. Right now, she is interrupting police business. What is the police business, Stock Sniper? She's stopping them from busting somebody. It's just like a drug bust. Interfering with somebody interfering with the police running up in somebody's house. You know, they call it a kick door when they run up in there and find the drugs and seize drugs. So she's interfering with police business. She's already broken 3 laws. Right now, she has already broken 3 laws. Okay, let's keep it going.
Reddish color.
No gun. Somebody said they had their guns out. She was scared. These officers don't have not one gun. Do you see a gun? I don't see no gun. Come on, chat, hit the like button. We got 260 people in the building. I'm breaking it down from an OG perspective. Hit the like button so I can continue moving on. We got 260 something people in the building. I'm breaking it down step by step. If you don't understand how law and order operate when you out there in a line of fire, I'm breaking it down right now. No gun. No gun right at this point. They're telling her to get out the vehicle, move the vehicle. You're interfering with business. Now, remember in the beginning, guys, I said it was an ICE agent on the passenger side of that tail light. Remember? It was an ICE agent. And the back side of the car, in the beginning of the video. He's not there anymore. He has now moved from that side to the passenger side of her car window, right? We don't know what he is saying to her from the other side. But what I think they need to change, ICE agents, it's not mandatory that they wear cameras on their vests. They need to change that law. But anyways, let's get back to the content. Right now, she ain't focused, in my opinion, she's not focused on the other side. All she's focused on are these two cops trying to tell her what to do. And you know how it goes. A lot of people these days, say it with me, chat, they don't like for you to tell them what to do. That's her problem. She don't want to obey authority, which in 2026, a lot of people don't like for you to tell them what to do if you're a regular person or if you're the cops. I said it. So now, she's arguing back and forth with the police. She ain't scared. Is she scared? Nope. She's running her mouth, in my opinion, at this point. Let's keep going.
Here.
Okay. Now, the cop about to pull out the car. He about to pull out the car, put your hands against the car, assume the position, give me your ID, such and such, and etc. She's, okay, now she's about to break another law. There's 3 laws. What law she's about to break right now, Stock Sniper? It's called evading. She's about to leave. She's trying to leave. She's trying to evade because now she understands that that cop about to pull out the car and make her assume the position and put her up under arrest. That's what was about to happen. If she was scared of anything, she was scared of going to jail. Let's keep going.
Let's take a look. Agent.
She's still backing up. Now she's fleeing. It's called evading arrest, resisting arrest, which if you evade arrest in a vehicle, which she's backing up, she's scared, right? She's evading. She's evading. Let's keep going.
Walking up.
She stops. Okay, now she got the car and drive. You see, the brake lights ain't on no more. Why she didn't back all the way up? She knows that, okay, on the one that's at the car talking to her, that cop that was on the back passenger side tail light, he's now in the front of the vehicle. If y'all don't know, it's 3 cops there right there. It's those 2, and then the one I was talking about earlier that was in the back there by the back passenger side tail light. Okay, now that cop is now in the front. He's now in front of the car. At this point, she knows he's there. She knows that he's there. I don't know if you can see my arrow, but where the black is, the guy with the black mask talking to her, look right to the left. Right there. He's right there, the cop. The ICE agent. He's there in the front of the car. And if you see Chad, the brake lights ain't on no more. What does that mean, Stock Sniper? That means that she's in drive now and her foot ain't on the brake, it's on the gas. Check. Let's go back again for the people in the back. For the people that don't understand how criminals operate.
Here, so let's take a look.
Agent.
Brake light on.
Walk.
Call, see the cop. He's walking in front.
Walking up.
There you go. She sees he's there. And then the unthinkable happens. She hit the gas. Look.
And then there's another.
She hit the gas. Just like that. Let's rewind it a little bit more. Just so you can see in real time how it went down. Okay, see? Right now, that's the cop, guys. That's on her back, passenger side, tail light. That's the cop. That's the agent. That's where he's at right now. Here we go. See? That's him. You see his gun. You see it say agent or whatever it say on the back of the vest.
The vehicle.
He's moving to the front.
That's law enforcement pulling up in the pickup.
And it is the Honda Pilot that we should be focused on here.
She's running her mouth.
It's about a purple.
She on reverse brakes the whole time.
Reddish color here. So let's take a look.
Agent walking up.
Right there. It's over
and then
with.
There's another agent. I don't know if you can see that one right there.
Yeah, three agents involved.
Now, I just broke down. I really don't want to keep watching that like that, guys. But I seen there was a lot of people talking about that in the comment section. I just broke it down. I just broke it down in real time. She shouldn't have been there. That's all. That's all. So, what can we learn from this? What can we learn? Stay in your own lane and mind your own business. That's point blank simple. Stay in your lane, mind your own business. Critical thinking. That's what we can learn from that. Now, I'm not playing that anymore. But I had to play it just for the people in the back. That lady wasn't scared, bro.
On standby because he is also afraid of what happens when you provoke a community like this that shows up for each other. And we will not stand for that. No! So next up we're going to be hearing from Dale from About Face Veterans Against the War.
Secretary Rollins and HHS Secretary Kennedy with collaborating on this vitally important project.
On another
today
note,
they are
Chad,
here to officially unveil the 2025 to 2030 dietary guidelines.
They changed the dietary guidelines.
These new guidelines are informed by the best and most reliable research on health and nutrition,
They changed the
particularly
dietary
as it relates
guidelines.
to the role of our diets and the prevalence of chronic disease in the country. They are also these guidelines are easy to read and understand, so every American, young and old, can access this information that literally has the power to change lives. But these are not just an updated guideline. These are the foundation to all federal food programs in our country. These new guidelines are going to update the food that is served to America's children in our public schools, to the plates that are served to our great men in uniform in our military, our veterans, and the food that they are consuming at the VA. And these new guidelines are also going to impact nutritional programs for the
right? I really don't like stuff, because that's kind of harsh. But I hope, the way I broke that down, chat, I hope y'all really get it and understand, how that went down. We have to respect not just the law, but we got to respect democracy, and we got to respect how the people vote. You got to respect that. I understand it's a lot of division going on, but we got to respect things, guys. We got to respect things, chat. That's what we got to take out of the situation and learn from it. Don't let your emotions get you killed. Don't let your emotions make you break the law. Because unfortunately, that lady had a kid. Now the kid don't have a mom or a dad because the dad died in 2023. So, guys, we got to think before we do things. We got to think. That's the purpose of this live. We got to think. You got to think. You got to use some rational, critical thinking skills. Is this right? Is this wrong? Should I do this? Should I do that? Okay, even though the American people have spoken, and yes, Donald Trump say he gonna do these things. Okay, I'm gonna sit back and I'm gonna just wait. I'm gonna try to vote again. I'm gonna sit back. No justice, no peace, no racist police, whatever. Peaceful protests. That's what we got to remember. Feel sorry for that child, man, for a kid.
Such as WIC and Head Start. Unfortunately, for decades, federal dollars has promoted low-quality, highly processed foods that lead to scores of long-term health issues, which means Americans have gone broke because of these health issues. Faulty dietary guidelines of the past stacked the deck against healthy eating and food options for everyday American families, which has fueled the chronic disease epidemic and jacked up the healthcare costs of households across the country. This failed approach in our public health system ends today. When these guidelines are followed, Americans will be saving themselves thousands of dollars. If we want to cut healthcare costs in our country, we must become a healthier country. According to the CEA, poor diet is the root cause of obesity, which accounts for $400 billion in medical spending each year. A healthier America will lead to a more affordable America. The new dietary guidelines from the Trump administration will ensure federal dollars go to real food to improve public health and therefore save the American people their hard-earned cash over the course of their lives. So with that, I am going to hand it over to Secretary Kennedy. The great people behind me will give remarks, and then we'll get into Q&A for the officials that are here on this specific topic. They will leave because they're all very busy people, and then I will open it up to Q&A with the rest of you on the rest of the news in the world. So thank you, and we'll start with Secretary Kennedy.
Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you.
Today marks a decisive change in federal nutrition policy, made possible by President Trump's leadership and the work of MAHA moms and public health advocates who demanded reform. Today, in accordance with President Trump's directive, Brooke and I will release the dietary guidelines for Americans 2025 to 2030, the most significant reset of federal nutrition policy in history. These guidelines replace corporate-driven assumptions with common sense goals and gold standard scientific integrity. These new guidelines will revolutionize our nation's food culture and make America healthy again. For decades, Americans have grown sicker while healthcare costs have soared. The reason is clear. The hard truth is that our government has been lying to us to protect corporate profit-taking, telling us that these food-like substances were beneficial to public health. Federal policy promoted and subsidized highly processed foods and refined carbohydrates and turned a blind eye to the disastrous consequences. Today, the lies stop. The new guidelines recognize that whole, nutrient-dense food is the most effective path to better health and lower healthcare costs. Protein and healthy fats are essential and were wrongly discouraged in prior dietary guidelines. We are ending the war on saturated fats. Diets rich in vegetables and fruits reduce disease risk more effectively than many drugs. Whole grains outperform refined carbohydrates. Added sugars, especially sugar-sweetened beverages, drive metabolic disease, and today our government declares war on added sugar. Highly processed foods loaded with additives, added sugar, and excess salt damage health and should be avoided. As Secretary of Health and Human Services, my message is clear: eat real food. Nothing matters more for healthcare outcomes, economic productivity, military readiness, and fiscal stability. The dietary guidelines shape dozens of federal feeding programs, including Head Start. These standards affect 45 million school lunches every day, meals for 1.3 million active duty service members, and food served to 9 million veterans in VA hospitals. Today begins the work of aligning those programs with affordable, whole, nutrient-dense food. Implementation requires coordination across the government. I'm working with many of my fellow cabinet secretaries to deliver results. I want to thank Bobby Mukamala, thank you very much, who is the president of the American Medical Association, for committing to mobilize the medical community on nutrition. And I thank also the American Academy of Pediatrics for partnering on this effort. I also look forward to working with Dr. Jay Bhattacharya and Dr. Marty McCary to fund and prioritize rigorous nutrition research at the NIH and at the FDA. The stakes are measurable and severe. A Johns Hopkins analysis estimates that 48% of every federal taxpayer dollar now goes to healthcare. The CDC reports that 90% of healthcare spending treats chronic disease. That means that 40%, 40 cents of every dollar that taxpayers pay in this country is going to treat diseases that could be averted through good food. The United States has the highest obesity and type 2 diabetes rate in the developed world. We spend 3 times more per capita than the European Union on healthcare, yet our life expectancy is 5 years lower, largely due to diet-related chronic disease. Our childhood obesity rate is 5 times higher than countries like France. 1/3 of U.S. teens have prediabetes, over 35% are overweight or obese, and 20% of young adults have non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. 77% of military-aged Americans are ineligible for military service because of diet-related conditions. If a foreign adversary sought to destroy the health of our children, to cripple our economy, to weaken our national security, there would be no better strategy than to addict us to ultra-processed foods. It's shocking that our own government helped to drive these cataclysmic changes in our diet. The damage is real, it is preventable, and President Trump has ordered it to end. If the United States reduced obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and Alzheimer's to Japanese levels, we would save approximately $600 billion a year. About 50% of Medicare's projected long-term deficit, or $5,000 per family annually. Current policy worsens the problem. 42 million Americans rely on SNAP, where common purchases include sugary drinks, candy, and chips. 78% of SNAP recipients are enrolled in Medicaid, and 90% of Medicaid spending goes to chronic disease. These incentives raise healthcare costs and undermine health. This must change. The new framework centers on protein and healthy fats, vegetables, fruits, and whole grains. And you can see the food pyramid here. It's upside down, a lot of you will say. But it was actually upside down before, and we just righted it. For the first time, the dietary guidelines directly address ultra-processed foods and set firm sugar limits in federal procurement, driving a significant reduction in added sugar in school meals. I want to thank President Trump for his leadership and the partners committed to ensuring that federal food dollars support real food and better health. Thank you. And I want to introduce my partner and a friend, Brooke Rollins, who was an extraordinary collaborator on this.
Thank you. Well, good morning, everyone. Happy New Year. What a honor to be here. I think this is Caroline's first press conference back, and what a great way to start the new year, 2026. I want to thank Secretary Kennedy. Your commitment to the well-being of Americans is such a blessing to this nation. We have been working on these new dietary guidelines really since almost day one. Bobby and I were voted on the same day and sworn in on the same day. So I think the partnership from minute one has been real and extraordinary. As Secretary Kennedy mentioned, America is in the middle of the worst chronic health crisis in our nation's history. Over 40% of the roughly 70.
Ramon, 2241. Thank you for the subscription. Let me make sure that's the right person. Yeah. Ramon, 2241. Thank you for the subscription. We got 236 people in the building. Thank y'all for joining. Thank y'all for joining. Hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. We appreciate y'all for being here.
73 million children in the United States have at least one chronic health condition, and nearly 90% of healthcare spending goes toward treating people with chronic disease. Secretary Kennedy mentioned that, but it is really important to keep underscoring that fact. This crisis is unacceptable. It prevents Americans from living healthy and happy lives. And for decades, under both Republicans and Democrats, federal incentives have promoted low quality, highly processed foods and pharmaceutical interventions instead of prevention. As a result, nutrient-dense whole foods grown by America's farmers and ranchers have been increasingly displaced. The Trump administration is acutely aware of this danger, and today this announcement is making a major step in doing something about it. Thankfully, the solution is simple and should be non-controversial: eat real food. This is the main message of the new Dietary Guidelines for Americans 2025 to 2030, which encourage households and schools to prioritize whole, nutrient-dense foods. That means more protein, more dairy, more healthy fats, more whole grains, more fruits and vegetables, whether they are fresh, frozen, canned, or dried. We are finally putting real food back at the center of the American diet. Real food that nourishes the body, restores health, fuels energy, and builds strength. This pivot also leans into the abundant, affordable, and healthy food supply already available from America's incredible farmers and ranchers. By making milk, raising cattle, and growing wholesome fruits, vegetables, and grains, they hold the key to solving our national health crisis. And President Trump is mobilizing government to ensure families across America have greater access to these healthy foods. In the past 12 months, inflation has slowed and wages have risen for the first time in 5 years. Under President Trump's leadership, prices for everyday staples are declining, and more help is on the way. Recent data show that fruits, vegetables, dairy, and proteins, including eggs, pork, and ground beef, are becoming even more affordable every day for our American people. American households enjoy the most affordable and abundant food in the world, and today's release only reinforces that reality. A healthy meal is within reach for all American families. These new dietary guidelines are a framework which is meant to be customized to meet the needs, the preferences, and the financial status of all American families. For example, a and centralize ours, which means that those businesses in America that take the SNAP benefit, what they are required to stock in order to take that benefit, by the way, that's almost 250,000 retailers across America, that very soon we will be finalizing that rule that will mandate all 250,000 retailers in America double the type of staple foods that they provide for America's SNAP households. This means healthier options will be in reach for all American families, regardless of circumstance, at levels never seen before in our country. These dietary guidelines are foundational to so many USDA programs, and their introduction marks the first step in connecting America's schools and dinner plates to the best of American agriculture. Make no mistake, under President Trump's leadership, we are restoring common sense, we are restoring scientific integrity, and we are restoring accountability to federal food and health policy. The new guidelines are all about putting the well-being of Americans first, exactly where it should have been all along. This is the foundation that will make America healthy again, not just for those of us alive today, but for our children and our children's children and those coming behind. I want to end by saying God bless American families, God bless the American farmer and rancher, and God bless America. What an honor now to introduce another great partner in this incredible work, and that is Dr. Mehmet Oz. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Well, chat, I thank y'all for rocking with me. It's been a long live. It's been 2 hours. I think I'm gonna end it right here and pick up on this tomorrow. We're gonna pick up on Dr. Oz for part 2 of this. When this live was supposed to have been about health, but we had the shooting that we had to cover, and that really took a lot of energy out of me. And it's been a 2-hour live. So we're gonna pick this up tomorrow. So make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit the notification bell so you will be notified when we go live. I'm gonna go live tomorrow, and we're gonna start with the original content of this live, which is going to be about health, and what we should be eating, and basically what they're talking about. So the good thing is we still got Dr. Oz and these other great guys, these doctors, to come up and tell us more about the new health guidelines that America is pushing out for the kids. So at this time, guys, I hope y'all have a great night. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the notification bell. We're on the road to 10,000. We're on the road to 10,000. And I appreciate each and every one of y'all. It's we the people, right? We got to remember that. We got to put that out there as much as possible. It's we the people, to bring us together as the people. That's what we got to do. And that's one of the goals of this channel, to try the best that I can and we can as a collective, as the channel grows and get bigger and bigger, to try to bring the country together, try to bring the people together, the ones that really want to come together. A place where we can connect, a place where we can, share ideas and help one another out. We had a great case study tonight on what not to do. So I hope this live was entertaining. I hope it was something you can learn and think about, because we did do a case study and I broke the whole thing down. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. It's the one and only Stock Sniper. Earn, spend less, and make proper investments. And yes, making right, critical thinking decisions is an investment. Using your brain and using the sense that God gave you is an investment. Your health is an investment. We got to understand that. And once you understand that, you teach it to your kids and grandkids. You teach it to the people in your circle. And then you teach it to the world. And then that's how you get your blessings from the Most High. Take it from the OG. So with that being said, I love and I appreciate y'all. Hope y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow. I'll be right back at it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and put on all notification bells. With that being said, I love y'all, chat. I'm out. Y'all have a great night.